Hello, everybody. Teen Trouble here. Today, I'm going to be taking a deep dive into the inner workings of Scratched to bring to you how I managed to pull this all together. Now, if you're asking me, it's quite simple, really. Not really. This took me literal years to perfect. Maybe like 4, starting with COVID, yeah. But we've got multiple things to deep dive into. So let's start off with the main thing y'all are probably wondering about. The song chart. Song chart split up in a very specific way. Basically, let's see if I can get a comment started. Let me pull up song chart. All the charts. They're all stored in here. You can see Silly Billy, this was my testing. Now, these are set up in a very specific way to be able to be read by the engine. It's got the opponent, the player, the bopper, the stage name, song name, song length, scroll speed, if I could type, and then the BPM, and then how many lines there are for it. This is just the basic workings of it. Actually, let me extract Billy. Alright, this will be easier. And then this turn right? Yes. And then we've got the notes, which is time to hit in milliseconds. That will become important. Note number, note length, again in milliseconds. And then must hit section. That is very, very important because Friday Night Funkin', or at least the psych engine, saves notes as 0 through 8. So say you've got the 4 notes. Let me spawn the strum line. Where is it? Hold on, let me make them show. I don't know why they're not showing, but you get the gist. It goes from 0 to 8. So when your note's at 0, it'll do the okay. If you have a note number of 0 and you go with and you're focused on the opponent, note number 0 will be the opponent's left arrow. But if you have a note number of 0 and you're focused on the player, then that note number 0 is the player's left. So when you're focused on the player, you have to swap them. You have to change it up so it's on the correct side. Very important. Then you scroll all the way down and you've got the anti-lag one. That just makes it so when the song chart is done, it doesn't try and use this as a way to get a note chart, a note. This is all sections BPM. These are all the sections BPMs. ripped straight from the chart. I'll show you how that works in a little bit. This, you might be confused about. This is, does the BPM change? If it's a 0, then the BPM stays the same, it ignores it. But if it's a 1, which I don't think it does in this, it takes the 1 up here and applies it to the song data. And then, last but not least, I'm sure you guys can figure this out. This is must hit section. 0s meaning it's not, and a 1 meaning it is. So basically 0 is focused on the opponent, 1 it's focused on the player. Very easy. That's the song chart. It takes all of the notes and puts it in a comprehensive way. But TNT, how do you manage to put it in a chart like this? Wow, my lovely, lovely, lovely viewer. That is also very easy to understand. Let me pull it up real quick. The song charter on Turbo Warp. Alright. Everything we just went over is in here, so it all just gets put together with the backslash in between them. Now the TXT file, how does that work? We pull up the files. I have it on another screen so you guys can't see all my stuff because it's a mess. Pull up data. We'll say the song Thorns on hard. Not Thorns on hard. I'm changing what I'm using for. I'm using Mario's Madness. Data. Song data. It's a good song, a bad day. There we go. No, this is a terrible example because this handles events weirdly. Come on, I just wanna... I'll just use Silly Billy. Mods. Hope you guys are enjoying this quality content. Alright, so here's the song chart. You may be very confused by this. Let me close up the events. So here you can see the notes. The way that it works is that it skips everything until it gets to a line that contains notes. So all of this is just ignored. You can see that over here, this is where here's the super fast. No, not there. It's delete all the song chart, and then it comes over here. You see it waits until section notes, which is right here. But there's nothing here. Well, it knows what to do for that. It'll just skip everything. Check for section stuff. This is all of the must hit section, BPM, change BPM. Of course, we can see here, not always present, it's not. So we have to manually record if it was added in. Using variables and stuff. Let me go back to sorting script. Then it gets the note data, please. Which is all of the this. Let me scroll down. Which will look for all of this. Lovely stuff. You can see here that it's organized in a very strict way. This is the note time, the note number, and the length. Whoa. That's almost like it's almost like this. But what about the must hit section? Well, it has to give in this if it's a must hit section or not. You can see it's a false or or a true. And if it's true, we output a 1. And if it's false, we output a 0. And just stick it at the end of them. And then it sorts it all. But unfortunately, let me control A, C, and bring up Notepad. Here's the chick. This is what I use. If we were to save it like this, you know, keeping all the tab ins, keeping all the quotation marks, I'm just gonna show you what happens in another. Let me create a list. Doesn't matter. I'm gonna be deleting. I'm not gonna be using. And then import it. Yep, here it is. Now, then, if you just put it in like this, contains this. No. This contain. Yeah, you can already see the problem. Where are all the tab-ins? Oh, it's scrolled. That's why. But no, that's not the problem. Zoom back in. Take one of these tab-ins. Oh. Whatever, it makes it easier to read, so then you don't have to skip all these tab-ins just to get to the note. And then you see all the quotation marks, and all the commas. Yeah, it's just easier without. In Scratch, at least, it's a problem. TurboWork is clearly, it's clearly built different. Alright. So that's how the song chart. Oh yeah, and then it has to sort it all by note time. Yeah. So the gist, it reads through this as a TXT, slaps all these together, and slaps an extra one onto it. It is built to wait until it reaches this. The end bracket. Cool. Alright. That's the song chart. The note case song. Next, how do you make it spawn the notes or read this chart? Well, that's all handled in the notes. As you can see, 1,000 blocks. I'm gonna sort it so it's easier to see. Alright, we're gonna go through all of these. First, create note chart. This is literally just the strum line. I don't know why it's not showing the strum line. Oh, because it's ghosted. I'm actually dumb. This just creates the strum line with note numbers of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Custom broadcast changes what gets broadcasted. You can see the shoot and reload, you can see the pose, and you can see the normal broadcast. The broadcast list is literally just left down upright, because those are the animation names for the player. If you go into Scratch, oof, you can see you've got left, down, up, and right. Very basic. Next one, custom note look. This just changes the appearance of it. double note list. This checks to see, this creates a list to see if the note is a double hit or not. I'm gonna change up the way I'm doing this. We're gonna go to, oh my goodness, the thing that does, the thing that, whoa. Whoa! First of all, if clone is equal to nothing, that means it's the original sprite. It is not a clone. We do not want to run this a million times over, or else there will be way too many clones and TurboWarp will cease to exist. Item 1 of note data. Oh yeah, we gotta go to read song chart. This puts the entire song chart into a list called note data. If we head on over to note data, where is it? There it is. Here's the note data. You may notice it's a lot longer than 4 notes. 4. And there's a reason for that. So of course you got the note number, note time, note number, note length, and if it's a must-hit note, must-hit section. So this would actually be a note number of 3. And then 5, 6, 7, 8 are entirely just for, has this note been, is this the next note that's gonna be, no, it's not that. Is it a double note? So do we have to create a clone of the note, you know, right here? Is it, is just replacing them? And then say, is it, has it passed the strumline minute? Did you miss it and no longer able to be pressed? And I forget what the other one is. Honestly, this is, it all got really done quickly. Head on over to player 2 stuff. You can see there's 5 and 6. Oh no, that's song stats and stuff. But now you can see, I don't know if I go to ratings. I am 5 of, nope, note data. Item length and note data -1, that's this. And I am -2, that's this. So that's 7 and 6. You can see that through this. 6 and 7. Because this is if it's a must clone the person. And these are, has it passed? And should no longer be pressed. For the bad note, that is. Because I had a plan for that and it didn't end up working out. Moving on. Make the note. You may look at this and be like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? Let me tell you, it is a lot more simple than you think. This is just 0.8 because the size of the note is 80. Boom, 0.8. This scales the hell note to make it look all fancy. This is the amount of time that needs to be in between the notes, with it being with the size of 100, because I planned it for the size of 100, not 80. And this is just increasing the time that it has to be. So each hell note has a different number. It's not added on like another item in the note data. No, it's just different. Alright, next. Here's the thing. These are positioning scripts, and I don't think you care about all this stuff. Let's look at how it works. Note registration. That's very important. So I've got 2 lists on the side. I've got keybinds. 1 list. I made it 1 list. You got the arrows, and then you've got the keybinds that you can input manually through the options. And then, if I go into here. Hold up. Number. Like I said, this is horribly made. Player 2 stuff. This is if the note gets missed. So if it's too far up, it has a time of negative 0.4, it's done. This is just the distance of the time you have to hit. Taking the timer and the note data. You always... Something I did is I made it increase when it gets spawned by 2 seconds, so it spawns down here rather than it being right up here. The held notes are the easy part. If it's less than 0, just delete the clone. If... What's my note number right now? 4. I'm going to set the note number to 7 because it only works with positive numbers. Number 7 is W. Boom. Easy. Or the up arrow. It'll look to see if either of those are true in order to continue with all this. Because if not, it's got to stop the script, and this is the normal note stuff. Item 2 of note data. Did you miss the note and it's no longer able to be pressed? Easy to understand. Then boom, if that is a 1, then you stop it. It can't be pressed. Then you've got this note or note to hit. This is to see if it's the correct note that is ready to be hit. So if you have 2 right next to each other, it won't hit both of them, it'll only hit the first one. Then item note data -3. Have you already tried to press it? This is just to make it so that you can't just press and hold the arrows and it'll just let you play the song with all bads and stuff. No, it'll wait for you to pick it up to replace it with a 0. You can see that's on the else of this to see if it's pressed or not. And then last but not least, is it actually in range? Oh shoot. Is it in range of being able to be hit? I used a time of 0.1, which seems fair. I don't know. You guys can tell me. You can see the custom broadcast. The P2 animation. We'll get into how the players work in a second. A new player animation. Then you replace no animation with G. We'll get into that. That's the strum line. And then add it to the list of clones that are available. We'll get into that. Increase note to hit so it's ready to hit the next note in line. It'll do the ratings. And then delete the clone. Now the G is in the strum line. If it's equal to G, that means it's glowing. It'll set the size to be 20% bigger than what it actually is. And then it will set it to a animation of GD, which means it's glowing and going back to being normal. There is a huge difference because if you see P, that's in special note stuff. That's when you hit a note that's when you press down without a note being there and it goes dark. It switches to oof. And you got this. This smoothes it out, and if size is equal to that, that means it's back to normal size. It can be all good. It can go back to being a dud. Great. Awesome. Amazing. That is entirely... I know I'm skipping over a lot of things, I know. This is a lot to go over, like reading the song chart. This is the check double note. It'll get the next one. And then it'll get the previous one. And it'll get the previous one. And if both of them are not the same time, then it gets tossed. You got a 0, doesn't get cloned. Amazing, amazing. The rating screen. This is easy. I've got different things for each type of. You can see there. Yeah, I was lazy. Each one is manually put in through a different one. Hate to see it. That's the video is to get the rankings. Item 7 is song stats and stuff is your accuracy, which is covered by your results text. Down here. Which look at the percentages. And then round it off to a whole number. Amazing. Nope, I did not want to do that. Great. Now, the background and all of that stuff. And to do that, we go back to the wonderful world of Scratch and character stuff. Mins. And Turbo Warp, because Turbo Warp is better than Scratch. Sorry, Scratch. Update your website. Alright, here we are. Now, how does this stuff work? Easy. It's very easy to understand. These are all the clones stuff that's on here. Let's start with the basic. The health bar. This is entirely not my code. Well, not entirely, but the concept of it and how it works is Griff Patch. He made a series talking about smooth health bars, and I totally stole the idea. And it works. It works. And then you got the icons, which every 0.14 seconds, it'll check if the next note is either the winning or the losing. And if it's not, it'll loop back to the original one. Because in here, you've got N and L, and then the 2. These is just the strum line. If you really want to see something fun, you can... I have no clue what happened with that. I don't know why it's like that in the first place. You got the note colors and all that. And the animation handler. This is crazy. It literally just waits for the animation to be pressed. For the key to be pressed to do the proper animation. Alright, this is the easy stuff. Going to the player. A lot of this stuff is not used. Alright, so we got the new player animation. We changed the animation number by 1. This is important. Something that'll happen if we don't do this is when we finish something that would happen is if one of the animations were finished and we move to another one, it would prematurely end the animation. And then, yeah, it switches to the... This is if it's a clone. That's not important for now. And this is if it is a clone. It's not a clone. Oof. This is taking a lot longer than I expected. First, it prepares for the animation. How? This is it. I don't know why I did this. And then it waits a little. Animation ended, it gets set to 0. That means it's still in animation. You wait 0.5 seconds, then you see if the animation is correct or not. If it's still the same animation, then it continues. If it's not the same animation, then it stops. It's done. And then if they're not the same animation number, we end the animation, we go down to here. And if it's not equal to idle, we wait until all keys of keybinds is no longer pressed. And that's held in end animation. You can see here, it loops through all of them. So I'm pressing the up arrow right now. I can also do that with the W. Easy to understand. And how we position them right here. So if you're looking at it, you don't need to know about any of this stuff. This is the cloning. This is the icon. This is also not very important. This is the positioning script. If we go into game properties, this is, you guessed it, the game properties. Item 3, that's the zoom. Yeah. How do you get it to zoom properly? That is handled right here. You take the X position, and you take the Y position, and you multiply it by the size of the stage. Number 4, that's the rotation. That also gets set to 0. How'd you make it rotate properly? That's what this is. So it points in the direction of item 4 game properties, goes to the center, and then moves for the X, and then moves for the Y. That's what this is for. Turning this way 90 will make it so that it does the Y. And then it turns back to the correct orientation. And then item 5 and 6 of game properties is changing the overall X and Y of the entire game. So we can set this to be like 80 and 42, 43, whatever. And now they're shifted up there. The reason I have this black border is because that's what Friday Night Funkin's like. That's what this is. And then setting size. Item 7 has to do with transparency of the UI, excluding the arrows. Item 8 is for the stage. See there. Of course, that's for the transparency of it all. Of course, I've got a white backdrop right now. It would be black in-game, so it would look like that. Item 9, that is forced perspective, so you can make it no matter what, it'll focus on the opponent. Let me just create a one is for the player. That's not important. This is not a tutorial. Oh, this is if the player animation shoot, it'll shake. It'll shake the screen. That's it. These are all for debug movements, basically. If you hide this, press 7. That'll unlock debug mode. If I'm gonna be honest, I forget how this debug mode works. Yeah, you press space, you can switch between opponent and the player, except it does the opponent twice, and then IDJK does that, and that's all. Now the camera stuff, which is WASD, if I go into game properties really quick and stop it being forced. And press 7. Oh, I really don't remember how to do this. Weird, this isn't working. There we go. Oh, because that's girlfriend. You can't change girlfriend's camera. But say nano, the opponent's camera. You know it's the opponent because you can move him. And then player two's camera. You can move this to be anywhere, even off screen. Stop pressing 7. That's where. Right. You got the background. It's been 36 minutes. This is what moves everything. Target X and target Y are literally just target X and Y. And then it glides it over using this. The size thing will resize, and the forced camera will force the camera to a specific player. That's really it. This stuff is the simple stuff. It's mainly the actual game. The game itself. Oh yeah, and this is how I prevented the countdown from happening. Right. That is the inner workings of Scratched. If you guys want to know anything more, like player switching and stuff, player switching is literally just the costume names, backslash, backslash, the player name, the player you want, backslash, backslash, the animation name. That's it. If you guys want to know anything more about how I made this work, please let me know if there's anything I missed. This was my original concept. I was going to rewrite the code, but nah. I'll show you guys how it is now. I hate these current Scratch animations. And that's all for this episode. No, not episode. Video. See you this Friday for a before college stream. Cool. Bye.